Good afternoon, everyone. Today we will be discussing the microbiology and parasitology, which focuses on bacterial infection. Next slide. So, before we start, here are our learning objectives. At the end of this discussion, we should be able to first is to describe some of more common microbial infection in man, identify the different causative organism of such microbial infection, and the last one is to define the microbial infection in terms of their sign and symptoms, and identify appropriate and relevant treatment modalities for such microbial infection. Next slide. Now let's move on to bacterial infection. Let me just give you a brief explanation for bacterial infection. These are infection caused by bacteria that can affect different parts of the body, especially skin. Some are mild, but others can become severe if not treated properly. Next slide. Let's start with the common types. We have here the impetigo. This is a skin infection that spreads easily, especially through direct contact like touching or sharing personal items. It affects only the outer layer of the skin, the epidermis. It usually starts as small blister or fuzz, then it break and form a yellow or honey-colored crust. This is common in children, and hygiene is important to prevent the spreading. Second one is the folliculitis. This is an infection of the hair follicles. It looks like small red bumps or pimples with fuzz around the hair. It is usually caused by bacteria, but it can also happen because of sweat, tight clothing, or shaving. Mild cases can heal on their own, but if it gets worse, it may need treatment. Next slide. Now, these are more serious infection. We have here the furunculosis. This is a different infection that form a painful boil filled with pus. It starts from a hair follicle but goes deeper into the skin. It is usually painful, swollen, and may grow bigger over time. And the next one is the carbunculosis. This is a group of boils that are connected under the skin. It is more serious than a single boil because it is spread deeper and has multiple areas with pus. It may also cause for it may also cause fever or feeling weak. And then we have here the ecthyma. This is a deeper and more severe form of impetigo. Instead of just surface infection, it forms open sores or ulcer with thick crust. It can also take longer to heal and may leave scars. Next slide. We have here the erysipelas. This affect the upper layer of the skin. The skin becomes bright red, raised and clearly outlined, and it helps warm and painful. It feels warm and painful. It can spread quickly and is sometimes accompanied by fever. And we have here the cellulitis. This is a deeper infection involving the skin and then the tissue underneath. It causes redness, swelling, warmth, and pain. But the edges are not clearly defined, and it can spread to other parts of the body if not treated. So it is important to manage daily. And the last one is we have the necrotizing fasciitis. This is a very serious and fast spreading infection. It destroys the tissues under the skin, which is why it is very dangerous. The pain is usually severe and the condition gets worse quickly. This is a medical emergency and needs immediate treatment like antibiotics and surgery. So as we can see, the deeper infection goes, the more serious it becomes, which is why early treatment is very important. Next reporter, please.
So, so first, Let's clarify the difference. The fungal and yeast infections. Fungi are large group of organisms that include the molds and dermatophytes. Many live naturally in our environment or on our bodies. Yeast are single-cell fungi. The most well-known is Candida, which also lives on human normally. Infections happen when this organism overgrow, often due to the factors like weakened immunity, moisture build-up, or use of certain medications. Some common types you may encounter include the dermatophytosis, like ringworms or athlete's foot, affect the skin, hair, or nails. Candidiasis, vaginal yeast infection, or candidiasis caused by Candida species. Tinea infection, a category of dermatophytosis that target specific areas like Tinea corporis for body, Tinea pedis for feet. Symptoms vary by location but often including itching, redness, rashes, or discharge. So, for diagnosis, healthcare provides may use physical exams, skin scrapings, or lab tests. Treatment typically involves antifungal medication, topical creams for mild cases, or oral intravenous drugs for more severe or widespread infection. Prevention steps including keeping skin dry and clean, avoiding shared personal items, and managing conditions that weaken the immune system. So next slide. So, dermatophytosis, candidiasis, and tinea. Continuing our discussion on fungal and yeast infection, let's dive into the three specific conditions highlighted here. So, first up is the dermatophytosis. This is a fungal infection that target keratinized tissue, meaning the skin, hair, and nails, the culprit. Fungi called dermatophytes, which actually feed on keratin, the protein that gives these structures their strength and structure. Next in is the candidiasis, caused by Candida species, most often Candida albicans. This infection tends to affect moist areas of the body, like skin folds, the mouth, or the genital region. In more serious cases, it can spread to the internal organs, especially when a person's immune system is weak. So then we have the tinea. This term refers to a group of superficial fungal infection, also caused by the dermatophytes. Their name based on the body parts they affect. For example, tinea pedis is athlete foot, tinea corporis affects the body, and tinea capitis target the scalp. A common sign is a ring shape and lesion on the skin. So, these three conditions cover a range of fungal infection that impact different parts of the body with causes and presentation tailored to each type. That's all this section. Next, we'll move on to the viral infection. So, viral infection. Moving on from fungal and yeast infection, let's now focus on viral infection. Another major category of illness caused by microscopic pathogens called viruses. Viruses are tiny infectious agents that can only multiply inside living host cells. They, they invade the body cells, use the cells machinery to replicate, and can damage or destroy the cell in the process. This infection can spread in various ways through respiratory droplets, direct contact with infected people or surfaces, bodily fluids, or insect bites. As well touched on the next slide, common examples include the herpes infection and warts, along with many others like the flu, common colds, or COVID-19. Symptoms vary widely depending on the virus, but often include fever, fatigue, itches, or specific skin or respiratory sign. While some viral infections clear up on their own with supportive care, others may require antiviral medication or vaccines to prevent or manage them. Prevention measures like good hygiene, vaccination, and avoiding close contact with infected individuals are key to reducing spread. So next slides. Herpes simplex, herpes zoster, and warts. Now let's explore specific viral infections that affect the skin and mucous membranes, starting with the three key conditions. First is the herpes simplex. This infection is caused by the herpes simplex virus or HSV. It leads to recurrent cluster of painful, fluid-filled blisters on the skin or mucous membranes. There are two main types. HSV1 typically affect the mouth area, while HSV2 commonly impact the genital region. Next up is the herpes zoster, more commonly known as shingles. It caused by a reactivation of the varicella zoster virus, which is the same virus that caused the chickenpox. Once someone has had chickenpox, the virus stays dormant in the body and can reactivate later in life, producing a painful one-side one-sided rashes with group blister that follow a nerve pathway called a dermatome. Then we have warts. These are the benign, non-cancerous skin growth caused by the human papillomavirus or HPV. They appear as rough raised lesions and often develop on the hands, feet, or other areas of the skin. Each of these viral infection has distinct causes and presentation, and management varies from supportive care to targeted medication or removal procedures. Next, we'll move on to the viral condition like the measles and rubella. So, let's continue our discussion of the viral infection with the three more conditions that affect different parts of the body and have unique impact on health. First is measles. This is a highly contagious viral disease caused by the measles virus. Key symptoms include the fever, cough, runny nose, and red eyes, and we spread maculopapular rash, meaning flat and raised spot across the skin. It is spread easily through contact with surfaces like skin, hair, or tension. Next up is molluscum contagiosum, caused by a pox virus. This is a viral skin infection. It produces a small, firm, dome-shaped bump on the skin called papules, each with a tiny central bend or depression known as umbilication. The infection spread through direct contact and often resolves on its own time. Then we have the rubella, also called German measles. It's a contagious viral infection caused by the rubella virus
Anong sinihan
with
mo?
symptoms like
Sigurado ka kay
mild
Gislet?
fever, swollen lymph nodes, and fine pink rash. While usually mild in children and adults, it's extremely dangerous during pregnancy. Exposure can lead to serious congenital defect in the developing baby. Vaccination play a big role in preventing measles and rubella, while molluscum contagiosum is managed with supportive care or target removal when needed. Next, we'll shift focus to infection affecting the eyes, like conjunctivitis. So, next slides. Acute bacterial conjunctivitis, adult inclusion and conjunctivitis, and
Are they meaning
blepharitis. Now,
conjunctivitis? Hello? Conjunctivitis. Okay?
okay po, pasensya na
Sige.
po.
Ah,
Now we'll turn our attention to infection and condition affecting the eyes, specifically three that impact the conjunctiva and eyelids. First is acute bacterial conjunctivitis, often called pink eye. This is a sudden eye infection caused by the bacteria. It leads to redness, irritation, and thick pus-like discharge from the eye. It's contagious and typically treated with antibiotic eye drops or ointment. Next up is adult inclusion, conjunctivitis, caused by the bacterium Chlamydia trachomatis. This eye infection affects adults. Symptoms include the redness, irritation, and mucus discharge. It's often linked to the genital chlamydia infection and required target antibiotic treatment. Then we have blepharitis. This is a chronic inflammation of the eyelid margins. It's often caused by bacterial infection or underlying skin condition like dandruff or other, leading to redness, irritation, and crusting around the eyelashes. Management's focus on keeping eyelids clean and treating the root cause. Eye condition like this can be uncomfortable and sometimes contagious. So prompt care and good hygiene like avoiding touching or rubbing your eyes. That's are the important things. So next presenter. So may I call the next presenter, Jimwell Roque.
Okay, canaliculitis. This is an infection of rachimal canaliculi, the small tear drainage channels of the eye. When infected, it causes excessive teary discharge and swelling near the inner part of the eyelid. Conjunctivitis, commonly known as pink eye. This is an inflammation or infection of the conjunctivita, the thin membrane that covers the white part of the eye and lines the inner eyelids. It results in redness, discharge, and eye irritation. It can be caused by viruses, bacteria, and allergens. Dacrocystitis. This is an infection of the lacrimal sac, which happens when the tear duct is blocked. The main symptoms are pain, swelling, and plus discharge near the inner eye, inner core of the eye. Next slide, please. Herpes simplex keratitis. This is an infection of the cornea caused by the herpes simplex virus. It can cause pain, sensitivity, tearing, and if not treated properly, may lead to corneal scarring and vision loss. Interstitial keratitis. This refers to inflammation of the corneal stroma, the middle layer of the cornea. It's usually linked to infections or immune reactions. As the condition develops, it causes the corneal clouding or capacity, which can impair vision. Herpes zoster ophthalmicus. This occurs when the varicella zoster virus, the same virus that causes chickenpox, reactivates and affect the ophthalmic branch of the trigeminal nerve. It causes a painful rash around the eye and can lead to various eye complications, including inflammation and vision problems. Perennial allergic conjunctivitis. This is a chronic allergic inflammation of the conjunctivita, like seasonal allergies. It is triggered by allergens present year-round, such as dust mites, molds, or animal dander. It causes persistent redness, itching, and discharge. Next slide, please. Pilectennular keratoconjunctivitis. This is a hypersensitivity reaction affecting both the conjunctivita and cornea, often triggered by bacterial antigens. It produces small, raised nodules on the eye surface, along with irritation, light sensitivity, and discomfort. Preseptal cellulitis. This is a bacterial infection of the eyelid and tissue surrounding, located in front of the orbital septum, a thin layer of tissue that separates the eyelid from the eye socket. It causes swelling and redness of the eyelid but does not affect the eye socket. or the eye movement itself. Superficial punctate keratitis. This condition is marked by small inflammatory spots or lesions on the surface of the cornea. Patients experience discomfort, excessive tearing, and sensitivity to light. Trachoma, a chronic infectious eye disease caused by the bacterium Chlamydia trachomatis. Repeated infections lead to scarring of the conjunctiva. If left untreated, it can cause eyelids to turn inward, damage the cornea, and eventually result in blindness. It is a leading cause of preventable blindness globally. Next slide, please. Acute meningitis. This is a rapid onset inflammation of the meninges, the protective membranes that cover the brain and spinal cord. It is most often caused by bacterial or viral infections. Symptoms include fever, headache, and neck stiffness. Acute transverse myelitis. This is an inflammatory disorder that affects the spinal cord. It starts suddenly, causing weakness in the limbs, changes in sensation, such as numbness or tingling, and problems with autonomic functions like bladder or bowel control. Aseptic meningitis. This inflammation of the meninges that is not caused by typical bacteria. The most common cause is infection, but it can also be due to other factors like certain medication or diseases. Symptoms are similar to other forms of meningitis but are often milder. Bacterial meningitis. This is severe life-threatening infection of the meninges caused by bacteria. It leads to high fever, severe neck stiffness, and changes in consciousness. It is considered a medical emergency that requires immediate treatment. Next slide, please. Brain abscess. This is a localized collection of pus within the brain tissue. It develops when infection spread from nearby areas like the ears and sinuses or travels through the bloodstream. It causes symptoms like headache, fever, and neurological deficits, depending on which part of the brain is affected. Leprosy, also known as Hansen's disease. This is a chronic disease, infectious disease, caused by Mycobacterium leprae. It mainly affects the skin, peripheral nerves, and mucous membranes. Over time, it can lead to loss of sensation, skin lesions, and, if untreated, permanent damage to the nerves and limbs. Encephalitis, and this is the inflammation of the brain tissue itself, commonly caused by viral infections. Symptoms include fever, confusion, seizures, and changes in consciousness or behavior. Severe causes can lead to long-term neurological problems or be fatal. Neuro, cirrhosis. This is a parasitic infection of the brain caused by the larval stage of the pork tapeworm. Te- Taenia solium, the larvae form cysts in the brain tissue, which can cause seizures, headache, and other neurological symptoms. It is a leading cause of acquired epilepsy in many parts of the world. Next slide, please. Parasitic neurologic infestations. This term refers to any infection of the central nervous system caused by parasites such as protozoa or worms. These infections can cause inflammation and, depending on the parasite, can lead to seizures, brain dysfunction, or damage to the spinal cord. Prion diseases. These are rare, progressive, and fatal neurodegenerative disorders caused by abnormal infections. Proteins called prions. Prions cause normal proteins in the brain to fold abnormally, leading to progressive brain damage. This results in a gradual loss of mental function and motor skills. Progressive multifocal leukoencephalopathy. This is a serious viral infection of the brain caused by the JC virus. It destroys the white matter of the brain, which is responsible for transmitting signals. It mostly affects people with weakened immune systems, such as with those HIV or AIDS, and causes progressive worsening of neurological functions.
Ang sabi next reporter? Sabi. Hello everyone. So, ayun, ako yung susunod na reporter. So, Ma'am Marley, ginagamit ko po yung phone ni Samia. One device po kami. And ang name ko po is Gem Crystal Tan po. So, ayun, good day everyone. So, today I will be discussing um, the rabies. This is the continuation of Jimel's topic. So, here, rabies is a fatal viral infection of the central nervous system transmitted through the bite or saliva of infected animals, causing encephalitis and severe neurologic symptoms. So, ito yung rabies. Since yung rabies kasi nakukuha natin siya or nakukuha siya, lalo na sa mga animals, di ba? Yung mga animals kasi meron silang rabies na tinatawag. So, ayan siya guys, yung rabies. Fatal viral infection siya ng central nervous system natin. Tapos natatransmit to sa pagkagat or sa um, laway nung animals na yun. So, next tayo dito. Um, subdural emphysema. Ano ba ito basahin? Ayan, subdural emphysema. It is a collection of pus between the, the dura mater and arachnoid membrane of the brain, usually resulting from spread of infections from sinusitis or ear infection. So, since nabanggit dito yung sinusitis, ayun guys, yung sinusitis kasi, ano siya, sa ilong siya. Sa ilong, tapos, ang tawag dito, para siyang infection siya talaga ng sa ilong natin, yung sinusitis, o kaya sa ear infections. And then, yung sinusitis kasi guys, ano siya, yung parang sasakit ng, yung mafe-feel nyo doon is yung sasakit talaga yung ilong nyo hanggang dito sa brain, dito sa, parang half part lang ng, ng head nyo yung sasakit. Ayun yung sinusitis. So, yung collection of pus between the dura mater and arachnoid membrane of the brain, ayun yung subdural emphysema. So, again, yung rabies is fatal viral infection of the central nervous system, and yung subdural emphysema is a collection of pus between the dura mater and arachnoid membrane of the brain. So, ayan. Next slide po tayo. Next slide po. Okay, so here guys, ulit, from the top. From the first slide. Okay, yan. Okay, guys. So, I will be discussing infections of the affecting different body systems, especially the cardiovascular system and the respiratory system. So, ayun, umpisahan muna natin dito sa, sa part na to. So, these infections are commonly caused by bacteria viruses, or fungi and can lead to serious complications if not treated properly. So yung mga infection na ito, nakukuha siya madalas or ang sanhi nito talaga is yung mga bacteria, yung viruses or fungi. Tapos, siyempre, nag-lead siya sa serious complications kapag hindi siya naagapan ng maayos or hindi siya napagaling ng maayos or for example, pag inom ng gamot, ganun. So, ayan. Next slide tayo. Next slide. Ayan, okay. So, ayan. So, firstly, let's talk about the infections that affect the heart and the blood vessels. So, here we have number 1 or the first one, infective endocarditis. So, the infective endocarditis, it is an infection of the inner lining of the heart, which is endocardium, especially the heart valves caused by bacteria or fungi circulating in the bloodstream. So, ayan, infective endocarditis pala. So, yung kaya siya tinawag na endocarditis kasi yung carditis, from the word itself, cardio, sa heart siya. So, yung topic natin ngayon is about sa cardiovascular system. Infection sa cardiovascular system. So, ayan, yung infection na to sa inner lining ng heart natin, which is yung endocardium nga na tinatawag, especially yung heart valves natin, sanhi ng bacteria or fungi, parang ano siya, yung sa bloodstream ng heart natin, parang hindi siya nagpo-produce ng may infection yung blood na pinoproduce ng heart natin. So, ayan yung tawag, infective endocarditis. So, next tayo, itong myocarditis. Ayan. Myocarditis, it is an inflammation of the heart muscle or myocardium, usually caused by viral infection leading to impaired heart function. So, this refers to inflammation of the heart muscle. Ayan siya guys. So, inflammation of the heart muscle. Yung muscle ng heart natin. Inflammation siya. And then, it is usually caused by, ang tawag dun, yung viral infections and may be awaken or weaken the heart. For example, may infection ka nito, myocarditis. Ayan. Papahinain niya yung heart mo. Kasi yung muscle ng heart natin, kaya nga tinawag siyang inflammation eh. Kasi hindi na, for example, yung heart natin is, hindi siya nagpo-function ng maayos. Since yung heart ng muscle natin, yung muscle ng heart natin is merong infection. Tapos, dun sa infection na yun is, wini-weaken niya yung heart natin. Parang pinapahina niya lalo yung heart natin. So, ang ano dito guys, sa myocarditis, tandaan nyo lagi, myocarditis, pagpapump, nahihirapan yung heart natin na mag-pump ng blood or mag-pump. Since yung muscle yung nagbibigay ng, anong tawag dun? Yung lakas, ayun. Yung lakas guys ng pag-pump ng heart natin. Myocarditis, ang tawag is yung viral infection ng tawag dun, fungi or bacteria. Pag meron kang infection na ganyan, yung may infection ka sa heart mo, ang tawag doon is myocarditis. Pero yung myocarditis is sa muscle lang na heart. Sa muscle ng heart natin. Tandaan nyo lagi, myocarditis muscle ng heart. Inflammation yan sa muscle ng heart. Tapos, nahihirapan mag-pump yung puso natin dyan. Okay, so number 3 tayo sa pericarditis. So, pericarditis is an inflammation of the pericardium, the sac surrounding the heart, causing chest pain and sometimes fluid accumulation around the heart. So, itong pericarditis, ito yung inflammation sa pericardium, tapos yung sac na sinusurround ng heart natin. Ayan, yung ano nito guys, yung sakit nito is, ayun nga, yung magkakasya ng chest pain and then fluid build up. Or pamamaga ng balot ng puso. Alam niyo yung balot ng heart natin? Kasi may balot yung heart natin eh. yung balot ng heart natin, mamamaga yun. So, ang tawag doon is pericarditis. Okay, so, balikan natin yung myocarditis. Yung myocarditis sa heart siya. Inflammation, sa muscle siya. Myocarditis, inflammation of the heart muscle. Pericarditis, inflammation siya sa pericardium. Okay? Pericardium. O kaya yung inflammation siya or pamamaga ng balot ng puso natin. Pericarditis ang tawag doon. Tapos, next tayo guys, this one, the rheumatic fever. So here, rheumatic fever is an inflammatory disease that develops after untreated streptococcus throat infection, affecting the heart, joints, skin, and nervous system. Okay, so this rheumatic fever, this develops after untreated strep throat infection. The strep throat infection. Kapag untreated yung strep throat infection mo, magkakaroon ka ng rheumatic fever. So, this can affect the heart, joints, skin, and nervous system. Maapektuhan daw yung heart, joints, skin, at saka nervous system mo. Tapos, ang important dito para hindi ka magkaroon ng rheumatic fever, the most important is mape-prevent dito maagapan ang sore throat. Ayan, preventable ito if, ang tawag dun? Preventable ito if maagapan ang sore throat. Ayan, mape-prevent itong rheumatic fever kapag naagapan mo yung sore throat mo. So, rheumatic fever ang tawag dun. So, next tayo. Ayan, sa next slide tayo. Okay, here, next we move to the infections of the respiratory systems. Infections affecting the lungs and then the airways. Lagi niyong tatandaan, respiratory is sa lungs siya. Cardio sa heart, respiratory, lungs. Okay, so next tayo dyan. Next slide po. Okay, here. Okay. First, we have acute bronchitis. Acute bronchitis is an inflammation of the bronchi or the large airways of the lungs, usually caused by viral infection, leading to cough and mucus production. Mucus production. Ayan. Doble lang guys, sorry. So, yung acute bronchitis, inflammation siya sa bronchi or sa airways. Yung bronchi kasi, kaya siya bronchi kasi yun yung large airways sa lungs natin, yung pinakamalaking airway or yung daan para makakuha tayo ng maraming hangin. Ayun yung tawag doon, bronchi. And then, itong acute bronchitis, nakukuha siya sa mga virus, usually caused by virus, leading to cough and mucus, acute bronchitis. And then, itong acute bronchitis, guys, ito yung pag umubo ka or if you have cough with the phlegm itself. Pag meron kang phlegm or plema, ang tawag doon, acute bronchitis. Okay, so itong next naman is the adenoiditis. Ayan, sorry guys. Ayan, adenoiditis. Adenoiditis. This is an infection and inflammation of the adenoids, lymphatic tissue located at the back of the nasal cavity, causing nasal obstruction, fever, and sore throat. So, itong adenoiditis, guys, ito yung infection sa adenoids natin na nalolocate siya sa behind ng nose natin. Sa behind ng nose, adenoids ang tawag doon. Tapos yung cause naman ng adenoiditis is yung anong tawag doon? Fever at saka yung sore throat. Ayan, nasal blockage. Kapag tinawag siyang inflammation of the adenoids or lymphatic tissue na nakikita sa likod ng nasal cavity natin, ang tawag doon, adenoiditis. So, kapag nakaka-feel ka ng fever or nasal obstruction and sore throat, adenoiditis. Pero kasi may mga iba't ibang, syempre, hindi lang porket fever, adenoiditis ka na, or hindi lang porket sore throat, adenoiditis na ang tawag. Syempre, may iba't ibang tawag dyan. So, ito naman, susunod tayo dito sa pangatlo naman. So, here we have the okay, so gets nyo ba yung adenoiditis at saka acute bronchitis? Yung acute bronchitis, inflammation siya sa bronchi, tapos adenoiditis, infection siya at saka inflammation din of adenoids and lymphatic tissue. Okay, so dito na tayo sa susunod, yung allergic bronchopulmonary aspergillosis. Tama ba? Okay. Tama. Allergic bronchopulmonary aspergillosis or ABPA in short. Ayan, ABPA, allergic bronchopulmonary aspergillosis. So, itong allergic bronchopulmonary aspergillosis, it is an allergic lung reaction to the fungus Aspergillus, often seen in patients with asthma or cystic fibrosis, causing airway inflammation and bronchial obstruction. So, itong allergic bronchopulmonary aspergillosis, it is an allergic reaction to a fungus called Aspergillus. So, yung allergic reaction sa fungus, ang tawag doon guys, Aspergillus. Okay? The allergic lung reaction to the fungus is called Aspergillus. So, this is common in people with asthma or hirap sa paghinga due to airway inflammation. Ayan. Kaya siya tinawag na allergic bronchopulmonary aspergillosis kasi allergic siya sa lung reaction to the fungus. Ang tawag doon, aspergillosis. Ayan. So, next, tayo guys? Next, slide. Okay, ayan. Thank you. So, ito susunod naman guys. The next one is wait lang. Bronchiectasis. Ayun, chiectasis. Bronchiectasis. Okay, tama. Bronchiectasis is a condition in which the bronchi are permanently widened, leading to mucus accumulation and recurrent lung infection. So, itong bronchiectasis, chronic condition siya in which the bronchi are permanently widened. Okay, so it is a chronic condition where the airway become permanently widened. Sorry guys, maingay. Ayan, leads to mucus buildup and repeated infections. So, bronchiectasis.
Hello, Adi. Bakit maingay? Saan ka? Sa bahay? Sa school?
Andito po sa school, ma'am. Nasa
sabihin mo masyadong maingay, nadidistract yung natin. So, ang tamang pronunciation nung sinasabi mo, bronchiectasis. This is a chronic condition that is usually associated with the bronchi. So, this is the part of the lungs. Okay? Sige, tuloy mo. Okay, you can continue. So, please, i-mute yung mga microphone dyan. Yung masyadong maingay, sabihin mo, wag maingay.
Okay na po, ma'am. Thank you po. Sorry po.
Sige.
Okay, continue na po. Okay, so continuation natin. Ayun nga, bronchiectasis daw po ang pagtawag. So, pasensya nyo na ako guys, hindi ko natama yung pag-pronounce. Okay, so it is a chronic condition in which the bronchi are permanently widened, leading to mucus accumulation and recurrent lung infections. So it leads to mucus build-up and repeated infections. Pag paulit-ulit na yung infection sa lungs mo, ang tawag doon, bronchiectasis. Bronchiectasis. Ayan. So, next tayo dito, ang common cold. The next is common cold. So, itong common cold, syempre, familiar na tayo dito, 'di ba? Ayan, yung common cold, it is a mild viral upper respiratory infections typically caused by rhinoviruses presenting with sneezing, runny nose, and mild sore throat. So, itong common cold, guys, ano siya, mild infection siya caused by virus like rhinovirus. Ayan, yung rhinovirus. And then, yung mga symptoms na mafe-feel mo kapag may common cold ka is runny nose, sneezing, and mild throat. If you feel these symptoms, meron kang common cold. You have a common cold. And then, ito yung pinaka-common na sakit sa lahat ng tao dito or kahit sino. Parang ito na yung kilala talagang sakit sa atin na nafe-feel natin. Ayan. So, ayun, understandable naman yung common cold. So, next na tayo agad dito sa community-acquired pneumonia. Ayan. Community-acquired pneumonia or CAP or CAP. CAP or CAP. Ayan. So, community-acquired pneumonia, it is a lung infection acquired outside of the hospital settings caused by bacteria, viruses, or fungi, leading to cough, fever, and difficulty breathing. Mm, anong tawag dyan? Wait lang guys, kasi hindi ko masyadong maano yung natin. Hindi naman siya naulit. Okay, so this is that develops after untreated streptococcus throat infection. Parang naulit siya. So, wag nyo nang pansinin yung nasa baba, guys, kasi na-discuss ko na yan kanina sa pagkakaalam ko. Hanggang dyan lang tayo sa breathing, okay? So, community-acquired pneumonia or CAP is a lung infection acquired outside of hospital settings caused by bacteria, viruses, or fungi, leading to cough, fever, and difficulty breathing. So, ayan guys, yung community-acquired pneumonia, nakukuha natin siya sa labas. Okay, nakukuha natin siya sa labas or lang nagkakaroon ng infection yung lung natin sa labas. Like, nakukuha siya sa labas ng community natin or sa labas ng hospital, ganun, sa labas ng hindi well disinfected area. Doon nakukuha ang pneumonia. Pag nasa place ka na or community acquired pneumonia. So kapag nasa place ka na hindi ganun kalinis or hindi ganun kaganda yung environment, automatic, pag lagi kang nandoon, automatic, magkakaroon ka ng pneumonia. Ayan, community-acquired pneumonia, di ba? Kasi since hindi well disinfected yung area na place na pinupuntahan mo or yung lagi kang andoon. So, itong community-acquired pneumonia, it is a lung infection acquired outside the hospital settings. Acquired hospital settings. Kaya siya tinawag na community-acquired pneumonia kasi lung infection siya na acquired outside of hospital settings. And it caused by bacteria, viruses, and fungi. Tapos, ang ano naman dito guys, yung fever. Magkakaroon ka ng fever, cough, at saka difficulty breathing. So, understandable na ba tong tatlo? If you understand this guys, the three, okay, so next is slide na tayo. Sino yung next
So, Group is a viral infection of upper airway, causing a characteristic barking, cough, hoarseness, and stridor in children. Hospital-acquired pneumonia. Pneumonia acquired 48 hours or more after hospital admission of caused by antibiotic-resistant bacteria. Next is influenza. Influenza is a highly contagious viral respiratory infection characterized by fever, body. Next slide. Laryngitis. It is an inflammation of larynx leading to hoarseness or loss of voice, often caused by viral infection or overuse. Lungs abscess. It is a localized collection of pus with the lung tissue, usually caused by bacterial infection following aspiration. Next is nasal verticulitis. It is an infection of nasal vertebule, often caused by Staphylococcus aureus, leading to redness, pain, and crusting. Next slide. Opportunistic pneumonia. It is a lung infection that occurs in immunocompromised patients caused by pathogens that are really affect healthy individuals. And parapharyngeal abscess is an infection in the parapharyngeal space of the neck, causing swelling, fever, and difficult swallowing. And pharyngitis is an inflammation of pharynx, common cold as sore throat, caused by viruses or bacteria. And pneumon- pneumocytic Gyrospace pneumonia. It is a severe pneumonia caused by fungus pneumocystis gyrovicii, typically in immunocompromised patients such as those with HIV or AIDS. Next slide. Rhinitis. Rhinitis is inflammation of the nasal mucosa leading to runny nose or congestion and sneezing. It may be allergic or infection. And sarcoidosis is a chronic inflammatory disease in which cluster or immune cells from an organ, commonly the lungs. And sinusitis. Sinusitis is inflammation or infection of the parasal sinuses causing nasal congestion or facial pain and headache. And tuberculosis. It is a chronic bacterial infection caused by Mycobacterium tuberculosis, primary affecting the lung but may involve other organ. And next slide po, infection, infection of the digestive system. Infection of the digestive system are caused by pathogens like bacteria, viruses, and parasites spread through the contaminated food like water or poor hygiene, leading to symptoms such as abdominal pain and diarrhea. They can be prevented with safe practice and managed through rehydration and target treatment. Next, please. Cholecystitis is inflammation of the gallbladder, often due to gallstone causing upper right abdominal pain, such as fever and nausea. Next is cholelithiasis. It is an presence of gallstone in the common bile duct, potentially leading to obstruction and diarrheal disease. It is a condition causing frequent loose or watery stools, often due to bacterial or viral. And parasitic infection. And diverticulitis is inflammation of infection of verticula in the colon, causing abdominal pain, fever, and digestive changes. Next reporter, please.
Next is the epiglottitis, is inflammation of the epiglottis, which can obstruct the airway, usually caused by bacterial infection. For example, is the Haemophilus influenzae. Esophagitis is inflammation of the esophagus caused by infection, acid reflux, or irritation. Next is the gastritis, is inflammation of the stomach lining, often caused by infection, alcohol, or medication. Next slide, please. Next is the gastroenteritis, is inflammation of the stomach and intestines, typically causing diarrhea, vomiting, and abdominal pain. Hepatitis is inflammation of the liver caused by viral infection, toxins, or autoimmune disease, leading to jaundice and liver dysfunction. Intra-abdominal abscess is a localized collection of the pus within the abdominal cavity, usually resulting from infection of eye infection or perforation of an abdominal organ. Next is the mumps. It's a viral infection caused by the mumps virus, affecting the salivary glands or especially parotid glands, and causing facial swelling, fever, and pain while chewing. Next. Periodontitis is a bacterial infection and inflammation of the gums and supporting structures of the teeth, potentially leading to tooth loss. Pretonsillar abscess and cellulitis is a collection of pus beside the tonsil, often following severe tonsillitis. Peritonsillar cellulitis is diffuse inflammation of the peritonsillar tissues without pus collection. Next is proctitis, is inflammation of the rectum lining, often caused by sexually transmitted infections, bacteria or viruses, leading to rectal pain, discharge, or bleeding. Next slide. Retropharyngeal abscess is a pus-filled infection in the space behind the pharynx, potentially life-threatening due to airway obstruction. Next is the sialadenitis, is inflammation of a salivary gland, usually caused by bacterial infection or obstruction, leading to pain, swelling, and sometimes pus secretion. Tonsillopharyngitis is simultaneous inflammation of the tonsils and pharynx, usually viral or bacterial, causing sore throat, fever, and difficulty swallowing. Next slide, please. Traveler's diarrhea is diarrhea acquired during travel, commonly caused by bacteria, contaminated food, or water. And lastly, the tropical sprue is a malabsorption disorder in tropical regions characterized by chronic diarrhea, nutrient deficiencies, and intestinal inflammation.
Up next, we have the infections of the genitourinary system. Next slide, please. First, we have chancroid, which are caused by Haemophilus ducreate. This STI leads to painful genital ulcers and swollen lymph nodes in the groin area. It spreads through close sexual contact and requires antibiotic treatment. The next one would be the epididymitis, which is an inflammation of the epididymis, which is the tube at the back of the testicle, usually caused by bacterial infection or STIs, leading to scrotal pain and swelling. Third, we have genital warts, which are benign skin growths on the genital area caused by human papillomavirus, also known as HPV. Next slide, please. Next, we will have gonorrhea. Gonorrhea, which is brought on by Neisseria gonorrhoeae, it can affect the urethra, cervix, rectum, throat, or even the eyes. Symptoms may include discharge and painful urination, though some people have no signs at all. Next, we will have the granuloma inguinale. It is a chronic bacterial SCI caused by Klebsiella granulomatis, producing painless ulcerative lesions on the genital area. Next, we will have the lymphogranuloma venereum, also known as LGV. These are caused by specific strains of Chlamydia trachomatis. It targets lymph nodes and genital tissues, leading to swelling, ulcers, and potential scarring if not treated early. Next, next slide. Next, we have the orchitis. These are inflammation of the testicles. They are often triggered by viral infections like mumps or by bacteria spreading from other infections. It causes significant pain and swelling, and in severe cases may impact fertility. And next, we will have the penile infections. These refer to infections of the penis caused by bacteria, fungi, or viruses producing lesions, discharge, or inflammation. Next, we have the prostate abscesses, a localized collection of pus in the prostate gland. They are typically from bacterial infection. The signs may include fever, pelvic or rectal pain, and trouble urinating. This will require urgent medical care. Next, we have for the females the prostate abscess. It is a localized collection of pus within the prostate gland, usually due to bacterial infection, causing fever, pain, and urinary difficulties. And lastly, we have prostatitis, which is inflammation of the prostate gland caused by bacterial infection or chronic irritation. These might lead to pain, urinary symptoms, and sometimes fever. Next slide. Next, we have syphilis. It is a sexually transmitted infection caused by treponema pollution, presenting in stages with ulcers, rashes, and systematic involvement if untreated. Next, we have trichomoniasis. It is a parasitic STI caused by Trichomonas vaginalis, leading to genital discharge, itching, and discomfort. Next, we have urethritis and cervicitis, which is inflammation of the urethra, often from bacterial or viral infection. And the cervicitis is inflammation of the cervix, commonly caused by STIs, such as chlamydia or gonorrhea. Next, and lastly, we have urinary tract infection, also known as UTI, which is a bacterial infection of the urinary system, which includes the bladder, urethra, or kidneys. It will cause pain, burning during urination, and frequent urges to go to the bathroom. While not always sexually related, sexual activity can increase risk. Next slide. And that's about it. Thank you, everyone, for listening.
Okay, so that ends your report. So with regards to chapter 9, that is the different diseases with regards to the different system of our body, right? So some of the diseases there are usually discussed in the previous chapter. Now, your concentration there are the most common. So I will just, kasi na-discuss naman na, sasabihin ko lang sa inyo yung mga bibigyan nyo ng pansin sa chapter 9. Di ba dyan is mga microbial diseases of the different organ system, right? Tama?
Yes, ma'am.
So, meron tayong mga infection. Sa skin infection, you just focus on this one. Pakicheck nyo sa libro nyo. Bacterial infections, and that is your impetigo. That is, the causative agent is Staphylococcus aureus. So, it is a superficial skin infection. So yan, sa skin naman ang affected part. So what is the skin? That is all about your integumentary system. Another one is about cellulitis. cellulitis. Okay. So, anong ibig sabihin ng cellulitis? It is a deeper process that extends to the inner part of the skin. So, deeper ang kwanong cellulitis. Okay? Sa mga
Yes,
fungal
ma'am.
and yeast infections, na-topic na natin ito dun sa fungi pathogenic tuman. So, nandiyan yung candidiasis, dermatophytosis, mga itong tinea vesicular, that is the common superficial infection of the skin. Can you read on that? And then we have here the different viral infection. So meron tayong tinatawag na herpes simplex, wherein ang causative agent niya, same true with the causative agent of the chickenpox. So nandiyan ang simplex virus type A and type 2. So, ito, pag sinabing simplex, meron presence of vesicle. Ibig sabihin, yung rashes, meron siyang laman. Okay? Yung elevated na rashes, meron siyang vesicle. May laman na tubig. Another one, sa viral, yung herpes zoster. Ito yung, pag sinabing herpes zoster, painful po ito. It begins with pain, kaya masakit ito, tapos nag-ano lang siya sa localized. Kung halimbawa, yung herpes zoster sa ano lang, sa shoulder, doon lang sila magbumunggol yung mga masakit na rashes o yung mga vesicle. Pag sa legs naman, doon din lang. Localized, hindi siya all over the body. Mostly sa mga waistline yan, sa mga shoulder, sa legs, doon yung tinatarget ng herpes zoster. Sabi dyan, it is an acute, painful dermatomal dermatitis. So usually, causative agent niya parehas sa varicella. Varicella, that is your chickenpox. Ngayon, the only difference here from varicella to herpes zoster, ang herpes zoster is painful, masakit. Masakit talaga yung blister niya. And you are going to give antiviral agents, and the drug of choice is yung nandyan sa libro, acyclovir. Okay. Then, meron din tayong mga warts. Yan yung human papilloma virus. Okay? So, nagkakaroon ng warts, yung mga small black dots. Next, measles. So, ang measles, meron tayong dalawang klase ng measles. We have the rubiola and rubella. So, we have a German measles, that is rubella. Rubiola is the measles. Measles talaga yon. Wherein, ang magiging causative agent niyan is paramyxovirus. Samantalang yung German measles, togavirus. Parehas yan na mayroong rashes. Okay? So, manifestation parang nagkakaroon ka ng trangkaso, may coryza, conjunctivitis, fever, tapos may rash. So, kailangan mailabas lahat yung rashes. Okay? Mayroon tayong tinatawag na rashes na known as maculopapular rash. Tapos, ang pathognomonic sign ng measles is Koplik spot. Saan makikita yan? Sa mucosa. So, pag pinanganga mo yung bata, meron siyang white spots. Okay? Ang rubella, that is German measles, causative agent niya is togavirus. Meron din siyang maculopapular rash. Ito naman, pag na-expose yung pregnant mother, meron siyang side effects sa fetus. Pwedeng mawala yung isang kamay, walang daliri. So, be careful pag buntis ka, dapat hindi ka ma-expose sa German measles. Next, we have acute bacterial conjunctivitis. Sa ano yan? Sa conjunctiva sa eyes. Okay? Next. Itong mga blepharitis, caniculitis, basahin nyo lang. So you have here the word conjunctivitis. Ibig sabihin, inflammation of the conjunctiva due to virus. Meron pa dito, mga yanay, herpes simplex, intestinal keratitis. Basahin na lang ang mga yan.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, meron pa. Wait lang. Tingnan natin yung mga nandito. Iba. You have to read acute meningitis. Nahanap mo. Acute meningitis. So, causative agent. Marami siyang causative agent. Bacterial meningitis. And then, focus ko din kayo sa may leprosy. Ang leprosy, it is also known as Hansen's disease. Ang causative agent niya, same true with PTB, pero leprae siya. Mycobacterium leprae. So, it is a bacteria. Ito yung sa Pangasinan na sinasabi nilang ketong. Nakakita na kayo ng taong may ketong? Hello? Nakakita na kayo?
No po, ma'am.
Oh. Yung may mga, ito, skin disease yan na leprosy. Pero this time, na-eradicate na, ibig sabihin, nagle-lessen na yung kaso ng leprosy dahil meron na sin mga vaccine. Okay, next. Rabies. Saan nakukuha ang rabies? Saan nakukuha ang rabies?
Sa animals
Sa
po.
kagat po ng hayop.
Animals.
Pag mayroong rabid yung aso. Ito, pag na yung symptoms nito, within 48 hours mamamatay na yung tao. Basta meron na siyang photophobia, hydrophobia, takot sa maliwanag, takot sa tubig. Ayan, mamamatay na yan within 48 hours. Wala na pong gamot dyan. So, kailangan natin magpa-vaccine ng anti-rabies vaccine. And you have to observe the dog. Kung yung aso na nakagagat sa'yo is gala, yung hindi nyo aso, magpa-inject agad. Pero pag aso nyo, obserbahan nyo yung aso nyo. Pero mas mainam kung magpa-inject na lang ng anti-rabies vaccine. Okay? So, it is caused by rabies virus. So, ano ang manifestation niyan? Or mga signs and symptoms? Kung nakakita na kayo ng naaatiwol na aso, ganun din ang signs and symptoms ng tao. So, pag yung tao na may rabies, nakakagat ng parehas niyang tao, magkaka-rabies din po yun. Okay? Next, let's go to cardiovascular diseases. So, we have here myocarditis. So, myocarditis is the muscle of the heart. So, meaning to say, it is the inflammation of the heart muscle. Okay? What else? Rheumatic fever. Yan yung mga common sa mga bata. Rheumatic fever. And that will lead to rheumatic heart disease. Ang causative agent niyan, group A, streptococcus. So, it is a streptococcal infection. Next, sa respiratory. Andyan ang bronchitis. Bronchioles ang affected dyan. Alam niyo kung saan parte yan? Dyan nakakonect yung right and left na lobe ng lungs. Next, we have common colds. Common na yan. Alam niyo na yan. Lahat tayo nagkakaroon ng common colds. Okay? Community-acquired pneumonia, madidevelop ito sa within the community. Okay? Meron din tayong tinatawag na nosocomial infection sa hospital naman yon. Then we have also hospital-acquired pneumonia. Influenza, or that is trangkaso, lung abscess, and itong mga opportunistic pneumonia, complication yan ng HIV. And then, ito rin yung pneumocystitis carinae na pneumonia sa AIDS yan. Rhinitis, sinusitis sa nose na yan. Yung mga rhinitis, kung may allergy, laging sinisipon. And then you have your tuberculosis. So, ito yung common, pinakamadaming kaso, pero pinakamadaling gamutin. Once you undergo a short course chemotherapy, meaning 6 months, na magtitake ka ng anti-TB drugs. Ano yung mga drugs ng TB na yan? RIPE. R-I-P-E. R stands for rifampicin, itambutol, R-I-P, ano na yung P? Wait lang. Pyrazinamide, itambutol, and streptomycin. So, nandyan sa libro nyo yan. So, kompleto yan. Meron yan sa RHU. Nagbibigay sila. Paano nila malalaman? Through case finding, house to house, malalaman nila kung ilan yung kaso ng PTB sa isang community. So, that is the work of a public health nurse. Next, sa digestive system. You have infections of the digestive system. You have cholelithiasis sa gallbladder. Cholelithiasis sa stone naman yan, sa kidney or sa bile duct. Then you have the diarrhea. So, gastritis, inflammation of the gastric mucosa, that is the part of the stomach, gastric lining. So, causative agent niya, Helicobacter pylori. Gastroenteritis, another one, hepatitis. So, marami tayong klase ng hepatitis A, B, and C. So, meron tayong Hepa A, viral. Hepa B, through blood. So, requirement ngayon, pagdating ng second year, you are required to have your 3 doses of a Hepa vaccine. Next, kasi pwede niyang matransmit sa inyo, once na nag-inject ka, tapos may Hepa yun, na-inject mo sa sarili mo, pwedeng magkaroon ka ng hepatitis B. Next, yung mumps. Ano ang affected dyan? The parotid gland. Okay? Under ng salivary gland. What else? Sa genitourinary, ito na lang, gonorrhea. A sexually transmitted diseases common among female. Causative agent, Neisseria gonorrhea. Next, syphilis. Sexually transmitted diseases common among male. Causative agent, Treponema pallidum. And then, UTI, that is common, urinary tract infection. Bakit ka absent? Sasabihin mo, ma'am, nagkaroon po ako ng UTI. Okay, so that ends our topic for the lecture. I hope you learned something from microbiology with the different microorganisms, different parasitology, mga parasites. So, yan na yung last. Okay. Do you have any question?
Wala.
Wala kayong question. So, ganito na lang nga. Ilalagay ko na lang sa group chat kung ano yung papagawa ko sa inyo kasi nawawala na yung signal dito sa office. Napuputol-putol na. Yung
Okay.
attendance, paki-screenshot, isi-send nyo na lang sa akin. Screenshot nyo na ngayon. Sinong gumagawa? Okay, paki-screenshot then send it to the group chat. So, wait nyo na lang yung announcement. You will have 2 quizzes. Hahatiin ko yan, yung 3 chapter. Para hindi gaanong maano kasi pag 100 items ka agad tapos hindi kayo nakapag-aral, baka hindi nyo maipapasa. So, 2 na lang na quiz pa bago mag-finals. The schedule of the final exam is 22 to 25. Ngayon, nasa Manila kami noon. So, darating kami dito ng 24. So, ang exam nyo, final exam, will be held Saturday. Okay, clear? And then, you will have your laboratory. So, endorse ko kayo sa technician sa micro. Tapos yung ibang laboratory dyan, asynchronous, isi-search nyo na sa YouTube or sa Google. Konti lang kasi yung organisms na nakukulture sa taas, kulang tayo ng reagents. So we cannot do the other experiment. Ang ginawa namin dyan dati is sa Google o kaya sa YouTube. Any more questions? Section A. Yes.
Wala na po, ma'am.
Sino yung may question pa? It's from cover to cover. From the beginning up to the last, same true with the laboratory. Whatever be the topic that natapos natin, that is the scope of the laboratory. But there is no drawing. It is all multiple choice lahat. Pati sa lecture. So 100 items that it will be your final exam. Okay? Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
So you
Yes
have
po,
to
ma'am.
continue your lesson kasi yung quiz nyo, dalawa pang quiz nyo. After that, asynchronous activity na lahat kasi we are going to Manila by April 12. And the start of our duty there is April 13. Okay?